wait and make sure that that we have the signal saying that we're live.
I see it.
You do see it?
Mm-hmm.
Mine says setting up for your meeting.
It says meeting is now streaming live on YouTube, and
Yeah.
there's a red box that says live in white.
But we're going to wait and make sure that. Okay, so I just muted myself, and I don't think you have to mute anything. We already have 11 people watching, 19 people watching. Y'all say hello to Miss Maxine Taylor. We are, hi Raymond, hi Ray, Amy, it's nice to see y'all. Okay, I can't hear you, Maxine.
I hadn't said anything.
Okay. I'm forgetting that we're 20-second, there's a 20-second delay. So I'm watching the video instead of listening for you. So yeah, tell Miss Maxine hello. Shelly, Anissa, Donna, Free Flowing, Iax. It's good to see y'all. Andrea or Andrea. Raymond says hi, Maxine. Can you see the chat, Maxine?
No, I can't.
Okay, so Maxine can't see the chat, but so Raymond says hello. Amy says hello. Laylee says hello. Everybody's saying hello. Miss Ruth says hello. Ray, Melina, everybody's saying, hey, Maxine.
Hey, everybody. Hey.
We have people from Canada and all over the place. So great vibration of your voice, Maxine. That's what somebody just said. Great vibration of your voice. Hey, guys, I am so excited that y'all are here tonight. I'm really excited to have Miss Maxine here with us. She is going to talk to us about these eclipses, and she's going to talk to us about the great Saturn return and how we can navigate those energies and how we can make it work for us. Andrea is also asking off the top. Andrea, you might want to save that question for a little bit later, because we're going to try to take 15 minutes at the end. But her question is, do you follow the phases of the moon? But we're going to get to that. First, we want to talk about the eclipses. Then we're going to talk about the Saturn return. And Miss Maxine has a website, MaxineTaylor.com. She is an astrologer and has been studying and practicing astrology for over 50 years. She was the very first licensed astrologer in the United States and in Georgia. And that's where she's from, Atlanta, Georgia. So right now, I'm just going to hand it right on over to you, Miss Maxine. Let's talk about eclipses.
Oh, we've got to. I just love eclipses. First of all, I've got to explain, the planets don't make us do anything. They reflect what's going on in our lives. But rather than saying all of that, I just say, we feel the effects of an eclipse a week before it occurs.
Oh, wow.
Well, if it doesn't do anything, but it reflects, there are no effects from the eclipse. So all that is air quotes, but it's easier to hear what I'm saying if I do it that way, because that's what we've been taught, that the planets, affect us personally. And what they're doing, because of the law of attraction, they are reflecting what's going on within us, which is so exciting. So when we have an eclipse and they occur in pairs, we feel them a week before they occur and until the next pair comes along. Sometimes there are 3 together. The second half of this year, in June and July, we'll have 3 eclipses.
Wow.
2020 is a crazy, mixed up, oh my God, year, because of all of the planetary, I'm using that verbiage because of all the planetary influences, but because of what is going on in our world. It's not just in our own little world, it's everywhere. And I deal with people all over the world. So I know we are not alone. We are brothers and sisters with each other. And what affects one of us affects all of us. And so these eclipses are awesome. So I'm going to tell you what they are saying about each sun sign. And for those of you who study astrology and understand it, you know that the rising sign or the ascendant is sometimes stronger than the sun sign. So if you know your rising sign, you're going to be listening for your sun sign and your rising sign because they dovetail perfectly. So let's just start. Aries, the first eclipse. Well, let me just say the eclipses. We had an eclipse on Christmas.
Yes.
It was either the day of or the day after, depending on how far east you lived. If you're east, if you're in the Eastern time zone, it was the 26th. If you're in Central and further west, it was, of course, earlier than that. It was on Christmas, but
Oh, wow. Okay.
it occurred like around 10 minutes after midnight. So you pick a day, it doesn't really matter. Then the second eclipse is what we're going to have on Friday. It's a full moon eclipse. And at my full moon ceremony, it's going to be gangbusters.
Wait. At your full moon ceremony, you have something that we
Oh, yes.
participate in?
For years and years and years, I've had a free full moon ceremony. There is no charge for it. It's in Atlanta. It is not videoed because
Okay.
it's a sacred ceremony.
Okay.
Usually there are about 40 people there on any full moon. On an eclipse, there are about 75 to 80. And it's on a small patio as part of the Phoenix and Dragon bookstore in Atlanta. And so it is a huge event. People come in from all over the place. And people have told me it has transformed their lives because it's all about love.
Right.
All
So if
different-
somebody is in Atlanta or
Yes.
wants to go for Friday, they can go to that?
Absolutely, at no
Okay.
charge. We start at 7 o'clock Eastern time, right at 7. And it lasts about an hour, sometimes a little bit more. And people from all over come there.
Wow,
It's just amazing. And so everybody's invited. Sometimes little kids are there. Sometimes people with great troubles are there. And we have a sacred secret ceremony that lifts the issue up and out. And by the time we're finished, everybody is feeling love for each other. And we have all different nationalities, religions, sexual and political persuasions, actually not that many political differences.
Right.
Seriously, not that many political differences. So, yes, I have a full moon ceremony. I've done it for at least 10 years. I can't even remember how long. That's every single month.
So awesome. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, the Christmas eclipse, Aries, for you, that emphasized your career. It gave you either a raise or a promotion of some sort. What it did for you was raise you up on all different levels. It is just gorgeous. The one that we're having, now that was a new moon. That's when energy starts growing. On Friday's full moon, everything comes to a head. And that can be awesome. It can be marvelous. In Aries for you and Aries rising people, home, family, and all domestic issues come to a head to be resolved. Are you thinking of buying a home, selling a home, renovating a home? Are you thinking of kicking your brother-in-law off the couch? Whatever, it's family. It's
Right.
the domestic issues. Taurus, the Christmas eclipse had you seeing a much bigger picture, a vista of opportunity that you didn't even know you had. This is an eclipse that makes you want to spread your wings and soar. So you want to keep your passport handy because eclipses are strongest 3 to 4 months after they occur.
Wow.
Which means the springtime. It'll really kick butt. It's going to be great. And then on the 10th, that particular lunar eclipse, and for those of you who study astrology, the Christmas eclipse, it was in 4 of Capricorn, and the Friday eclipse will be in 20 degrees of Cancer. If you find those in your birth chart, you'll see the whole picture. Okay, What this particular eclipse gives you is the articulation, the ability to express what you're really feeling. So the first eclipse wants to go to a foreign country. The second eclipse rather, wants to go up to the mall. It wants short trips, totally different.
Right.
Gemini, this is very, very interesting. Gemini, the Christmas eclipse was very transformational for you and your ego. It gave you, it gave your psychic ability a real quantum leap forward. And this is the eclipse that says that you can join forces with a group or a person and create mutually beneficial financial projects. And that is lovely because the eclipse on Friday, on January 10th, brings your finances to a head. And there is more money for you, Gemini, and Gemini ascendant people. If you have your ascendant in Gemini, I'm talking to you too. And all the people who have Gemini rising or their sun in Gemini are going, yay, yippee, more money. Yeah. Cancerians, very sensitive, beautiful sign. The Christmas eclipse had other people calling the shots. Your spouse, the public, your second child, it's other people. So they call the shots. Don't you worry. There is a balance because on Friday, Friday's eclipse, that eclipse falls in your first house. And you're doing what you want, when you want, how you want, because you can. This is you saying, my way or the highway. And I love it. And the two of those balance very beautifully. Mm-hmm. Leo. Oh, I have to say great, grand, glorious Leo, because that's what they are. The party does not even begin until Leo arrives. So, you know, and when they do, Leo makes an entrance. They don't just slip in quietly. So the Christmas eclipse helped your health, your job. This was a time where you got the message to go to a gym. Yes, because your health is involved. You know how we tend to overeat sometimes on Christmas. Yeah, there it is. So your job, there's more activity that begins, which is lovely. Now, Friday's lunar eclipse, very, very interesting. For you, great, grand, glorious Leo, you want solitude and privacy. You want communion with God. If you don't get it, you're going to need more sleep. You're going to want to pull back and retreat from the world because you're feeling and hearing a much higher melody.
Wow.
Your vibration. You want to capture that spiritual vibration. And on a mundane level, it has you working behind the scenes. So do that, because that's where your power will come. It helps you unearth the subconscious. It's wonderful. Virgo, this is terrific. The Christmas eclipse said party, put a lampshade on your head and have a blast. Virgo doesn't normally play. Virgo tends to be the type of person who works and crosses their T's and dots their I's. And so this particular eclipse was wonderful for enjoying yourself. If you have kids, they want your attention too. So it's about maybe partying with them, making your social life and their social life, combining the two of them. But above all else, having fun. Then Friday's lunar eclipse that brings things to a head triggers the humanitarian in you. And you're not as interested in your social life and dating as you are philanthropic projects and organizations that help mankind. It's a beautiful eclipse for you to function on a higher level and give back and be a friend to all. Libra, sign of balance and harmony. The Christmas eclipse emphasized family and home. And you might say, well, isn't that true of everybody on Christmas? No, it's not. Some people do not get together with their family. Some people no longer have a family. Some people don't like their family. Some people just are not interested. However, with this particular eclipse, there can be a reconnection with family members that will be very lovely. Remember, 3 to 4 months afterwards, that's when you feel it. And Friday's eclipse, your career is triggered magnificently, Libra. Move upward. Move upward. No lateral moves for you. Upward. Move into the lead slot. Your personality, your political correctness will just move you upward. You always say the right thing at the right time if you think about it. Okay? Scorpio. Scorpio is the most powerful sign in the zodiac, and it gets a bad rep. I think it's because so many people who have written astrology books focus on the negative. Scorpio is the sign of transformation and transmutation. It is the sign of magic. And yes, it can be secrets, because that's what happens when you're a Scorpio. You're an actual psychic detective and you dig for the cause rather than the effect. The full moon on Christmas had you communicating with people, speaking with people, sharing ideas. Now, you're not necessarily going to talk about secrets, because you will take other people's secrets to your grave before you'll divulge them, or your own secrets. But it was a time of communication. And Friday's eclipse has you stand back and see a picture that you never realized you had. You're seeing the world differently, and I love it. Are you thinking of going back to graduate school? Are you thinking of taking some advanced courses like astrology or numerology? This fits in beautifully. Sagittarius.
Can we
Too
take
funny.
a break for just a second? Because I've had some other people come in asking questions. So just for a second. Guys, we'll be answering questions at the end. We're going to take about 15 minutes to answer questions. Carrie, your first question about the planets affecting our gravitational pull, we'll probably address that one. Your second question, if we have time, we're going to ask it. I'm going to write it down. But if y'all don't mind, save your questions for towards the end. But the one that's more personal to you, we'll make sure that Maxine's contact information is there in case you want a reading for answers like that are more personal to you. Unless we have time and there's only one or two of those, then we'll ask. But right now we want to get through all the signs with the eclipses. We're going to talk about how to navigate the energies of a Saturn return, and then we'll answer some of these more general questions. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Maxine. I'm sorry.
That's perfectly okay, darling.
Ignoring them. Okay.
That's perfectly okay. Okay, so where was I?
Sagittarius. Yeah.
Sagittarius. I adore Sag. It's Gemini's opposite sign, and this means that one of these eclipses deals with money, and that's the Christmas eclipse. You might have gotten the perfect gift that you asked Santa for, and this solar eclipse, which is new beginnings, could have brought you a new income stream. It also opens your eyes to new values that you have. It's a change in values, and that's why things change. When you open your eyes, boy, your energy changes, and the invitation that you put out to the multiverse changes. And Friday's full moon, the lunar eclipse, is that magical 8th house that I talked about just a few minutes ago. This full moon helps you financially. It helps you get to the bottom of all those questions that you have, because they will be revealed most importantly, it is a time of personal regeneration, transformation, and transmutation. It's magical. Magical.
That's exciting.
Yes. Capricorn. Capricorn, you don't mope, you don't hope, you cope. And so a Christmas eclipse had you taking charge of your life in a whole new way. I love it because what it does is it gives you confidence in yourself. Your mantra becomes my way or the highway. And like Cancerians, you're doing what you want, when you want, how you want, because you want. And it is your turn, period. Now, the eclipse on Friday has you focused on other people. Are you single and looking for somebody? Are you partnered and want to spend more time with that special person? Do it. So all of your relationships, including the one with yourself, are triggered with these
Wow.
two eclipses. I love it. Aquarius. Well, Aquarius rules astrology, and astrologers are very strange people, so I've been told. Because we march to our own drummer,
That's
and
right.
so does Aquarius. I had a student once who was married to an Aquarian, and she wanted her husband to tell her that he loved her. And so she was walking around the house saying, I love you, and no response from him. And finally, this is a true story. He turned around and said, look, I told you I loved you when we got married. I haven't changed my mind. And that's the truth. I love you when I think of you, that kind of thing. They are humanitarians. They see the long view. And so the Christmas eclipse had Aquarians or Aquarius ascendants pulling back and retreating in order to have more time alone. They love their own company. They're perfectly content with it. And Friday's eclipse has them serving and being the humanitarian that they are. So with Friday's eclipse, if you want to get a new job, bring a situation to a head, that's the eclipse that's going to do it for you. And finally, lastly, but not least, Pisces. Well, the Christmas eclipse triggered the humanitarian in you. You loved being with people, and you will continue that 3 to 4 months from now when it's at its peak. This is a wonderful eclipse under which to join humanitarian or philanthropic groups and feel like you belong to the whole. Both Aquarius and Pisces feel different. Aquarius says, am I crazy or is the world crazy? Well, Aquarius, look around you. It ain't you. And Pisces says, why am I here and where is here? Because they've got one foot on the spirit plane and one foot here on planet Earth.
Yes.
And Friday's eclipse says, Pisces, party, have a wonderful time. Enjoy your children, enjoy your friends, party. So these two eclipses for Pisces are party eclipses, and I think that's awesome. Same for Virgo. So that's a very short, sweet synopsis of these two eclipses. Now in June, we'll have 2 more, and in July, we'll have a 3rd, and everything's going to be more so the second half of the year. I'm offering a special on my website. It's a 6-month forecast. And I offer 6 months because there's so much going on. If we did a year, it would be too much. And what I've seen is that people absorb more if it's done in smaller bites. This is for the special covers the first 6 months. The second 6 months are just off the charts. Mercury's retrograde, Venus is retrograde, Mars is retrograde, and Mercury, which is retrograde, in October, rather, will go direct on election day.
Oh,
And
wow.
so there's a change in energy. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be wild. So I'll probably, I'm thinking, Cheryl, of offering another special the second half of the year, because there's just so much going on. We've got Mercury and Venus tag teaming us. They're both retrograde at the same time. And then Mars going retrograde, which means everything flatlines. And then 2 eclipses, one in November and one in December. So it's just going to be the craziest of times.
Yeah.
And I'm suggesting to every light worker, every walk-in, every star seed, prepare to step into your own mission. Prepare to step forward. This is the time that we have been preparing for. If not you, who? If not now, when?
Right. Right. Okay, so before we start with the questions, I want to talk a little bit about the Saturn return. And the reason I wanted to do that, and I think we talked about that before in our phone conversation, is because I've had some people tell me that, oh, well, it's my Saturn return and things just aren't going to change. And that's just the way it's going to be. And they feel almost captured or chained up based on something called a Saturn return. And I'm not an astrologer, so I don't even understand what that means. So can you talk to us about what does a Saturn return mean? How do we navigate those energies and that kind of stuff? What does it mean for us when Saturn returns to our whatever?
Yes. Oh, I really love talking about that. I'm a very positive astrologer. Traditionally, people were afraid of astrology. Back in biblical days, when astrology was discovered, after all, the 3 wise men were astrologers / astronomers. We didn't have internet then. They used telescopes to know that there was a baby born in Bethlehem. And so those 3 wise men, astrologers, Saturn at that point was the outermost planet of our universe. And because times were very difficult, it was gloom and doom. The old-timey astrology books are still filled with gloom and doom. And that's, I think, egregious, because we know that we have choice as to how we're going to react to our programming. I absolutely believe that we can change our programming, and it's in the chart. I can read mommy's message, daddy's message, the matriarch's message, your bloodline message in your birth chart. Saturn represents the should and ought to older representatives in our family, like grandparents. These are the ones who tell us about our culture. They are our elders. Saturn traditionally, if you read some of those books, is fear and restriction.
Right.
Oh, swill, makes you want to just jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, what hope do we have for helping people with astrology if they're afraid of what we're going to tell them?
Right.
What I've come to see is that Saturn is responsibility. And my definition of responsibility is respond to your ability as a leader. Saturn is a leader, as a representative of your ancestry in whatever house it falls in your birth chart. Well, every 29 to 32 years, Saturn returns to where it was when you were born. And this is the Saturn return. Every year, we have a solar return, the sun returns, and it describes your year. We have a lunar return every month, drive you crazy. But every planet returns to its natal place in your chart. Saturn has gotten a bad rap because Saturn rules reality.
Right.
And at that age, remember, that's like 29 to 32. It's your first taste of growing up. Prior to that, you'll tend to blame other people. You're a child. You're a spiritual child, most of us at that point. And Saturn says, it's time to grow up. Let's look at reality. And that is what people are afraid of because they don't want to change. They
Right.
don't want to have to do more than they're doing because they're programmed to follow what they were told to do by mommy, by daddy, by the matriarch who makes the rules for the family, and the elders in the family. So, but if you recognize that when you take responsibility completely and totally, you take responsibility for being the creator of your life. You
Yes.
created your birth chart. And there had to be a real good reason that you gave yourself a brother like you got, or, um, uh, a mom who is a drug addict and is never there. There's a reason for it. It's so that you will grow. But it's our lives are a movie. It's a story. And what I have found is that if you will take your responsibility, meaning respond to your ability as a leader, wherever Saturn is, that return will be much easier for you. And so then another 30 years later, you've got a second Saturn return. My second Saturn return was a breeze compared to my first one because nobody explained to me what I'm explaining now, respond to your abilities as a leader. Had anybody been awakened enough to tell me that, it would have been much different for me because we believe what we read. So
Yes.
don't believe what you're being told about that. Does that explain it?
Yes, it does. I was talking to a friend on the phone the other day, and I was telling him that you were going to be coming on and visiting, and I was really excited, and that you were going to talk about the Saturn return. And then he said that he's about to enter into his second Saturn return, and he's really, really excited about it because I can't remember why he said he knows in the charts what's going to happen. It's like it almost sounded like he was saying that all these miracles are going to take place because of his Saturn return. And I'm thinking, that's not how I understand it, but I don't know enough about it to even have an intelligent conversation about it. So I didn't know what to say to him except yay.
Well, yay is the best word you could use because depending on where it is in his chart, he has interpreted it that way. And whatever we believe,
That's right.
we achieve.
But right, that's right. That's what we create into our reality. Yes. Okay, so we do have a few minutes. We have about 20 minutes left, and I'm gonna go ahead and ask you, Andrea or Andrea, and I hate not knowing which way it's pronounced whenever I just see it on the screen, but she asked originally, do you follow the moon cycles? And then she came back with, and it was way up there and I hadn't written it down yet, but it was, do you follow geocentric or heliocentric? Do you want to speak to that? And did I say that right?
Oh, yes, you're doing beautifully.
Okay.
Most astrologers use geocentric, Earth-centered astrology, simply because we're here on planet Earth. And at the moment we are born, it's like our chart is a snapshot of the heavens based on our Earth being the center of our life. Well, that's pretty egocentric.
Right.
The sun is the center of our solar system, and we revolve around it. The sun in our charts, by the way, talks about our ego, so it ties in really well. There is a branch of astrology, and I used it for a while, along with my geocentric astrology that everybody uses, because I saw that a lot of people responded to it. They were very advanced spiritually. And it was brought to my attention because I had a friend at the time who basically commuted to Hong Kong on business.
Oh, wow.
He traveled all over the place. And there was no indication of that in his birth chart. The ninth house deals with long distance travel. So I thought, I'm going to look at his heliocentric planets. This is brand new to me. There are no houses that are used in the heliocentric system because nobody's born on the sun for obvious reasons. Okay.
Right, right.
I put his heliocentric planets, Sun, Earth, Venus, Mercury, and Mars. And lo and behold, the planet Mars, the planet of action and energy, was sitting in his ninth house of long distance travel. Well, I didn't have to do thousands of charts to be convinced that helio worked. So
Right.
the only reason I stopped doing it was because it cluttered the chart for the person who was not this sounds like a judgment, and I don't mean it this way, but you have to be advanced to respond to the heliocentric positions of the planets. It sounds like I'm judging. My
What-
experience,
What is,
my,
you have to be advanced, meaning the sitter or the reader? The person that you're reading the chart for needs to be advanced to respond to
well,
the energy?
no,
The reader.
no, the native of the chart, the person whose chart you're reading. I
Right.
could read your heliocentric positions and it might be meaningless to you.
Right. That's what
Um,
I'm asking. Yes.
yeah.
Unless I'm very advanced.
Yes, I found it to be so. And so I finally stopped doing that because so many people were asking very mundane questions, which they were very concerned about, like, will he divorce his wife?
Right.
Will I make money? And those are very valid questions. But the heliocentric added a dimension when you had a heliocentric planet in a place in the chart that did not have a geocentric planet, then it opened up a whole new dimension. So I found you have to be interested in that. And the person who asked the question just indicated their own personal spiritual advancement and evolution.
Gotcha.
To even ask it, they have
Right.
to be, I mean, it's marvelous. So bravo.
Bravo. That's right. Okay. So another question was from Carrie. She was asking, so do the planets affect our gravitational pulls? Do they not, or do they?
No,
No.
I know that's heresy. No, the planets do not make us do anything. The
Right.
planets do not make us do anything. The planets do not make us do anything. You say it 3 times and you hear it the 3rd time.
Repeat it again. The planets do not control our lives.
No, they don't.
Not at all.
What they are doing is reflecting the ebb and flow of humanity.
Of the collective, yes.
And in order to get the message, we have the gravitational pull. Yes, the gravitational pull is there. But it's like saying, in the wintertime, when I put on a winter coat, it gets cold. No, it's cold. So you put on a winter coat.
Right.
It's what God has created.
Right.
And in the Bible, it says, and God put the stars in the heavens for signs. I'm honored to be able to read the signs.
Yes.
That's what it is. Now you might say, well, they meant that for a rowboat or a boat on the water. Oh yeah, they did?
No.
I don't think so. But it's signs to get us to see, like when you have your Saturn return, you're getting ready to grow up.
Right.
And if you're resisting it, your life is going to be painful.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because what we push against pushes back against us.
There you go.
So are you still there?
Yep.
It sounds like I might have lost you.
No, I'm still here.
Good. Okay, good. Okay, so with that said, basically, whenever we read our charts, and you're telling us about what's going to happen, just like you just did with the eclipses, about what's, the money for Aries, or whatever, the party for Virgo, all that stuff. Does that mean it's just going to happen, or does that mean that the energies are ripe for it to happen if you choose to walk in that?
Well, most people don't even know about what the energies are, and they manifest exactly as I've described them. And that's why people love to have their chart done, because it's going to happen. Now, let's say the day of the party, you have an argument with a close relative. That could mar your fun, all right? But you're still going to throw the party or
Right.
attend the party. So it's a time when you're going to be led to have fun, to
Gotcha.
enjoy yourself. There are times when people want their solitude and privacy. They want to commune with God. Maybe they've been hurt. Maybe they were involved in the breakup of a relationship, and they just need to pull back and retreat to regroup, maybe lick their wounds. I mean, there is an ebb and flow. There is a time to plant, a time to sow, and a
Yes.
time to reap what we've sown. And so that's the ebb and flow.
Yes. So several people have said, thank you, Maxine. This guy, Scott Hicks, says, like God would create those stars just for the sailors, right? I mean, we all have to navigate our lives.
I think that's great.
That's great. Yes. Somebody earlier, and I don't know where it was up in the chat, but they said they love your necklace.
Thank you.
And everybody's saying thank you so much for what you're doing. Okay, so the other question was, what happens when Uranus goes retrograde in your sign? Her sign, the lady who asked it, was Taurus, but in general, what happens when Uranus goes retrograde?
Well, our heavy planets, the slow-moving planets, are retro half the time. Uranus just went into Taurus last year. Uranus is the rebel.
Yes.
Uranus rules astrology. And when it goes retrograde, like any other planet, it's backing up and getting geared up for when it goes direct and moves forward. It's a time of more preparation and introspection, because it's going back over the planets that it's already been over.
Right.
Same aspects. And then for the final time, when it goes direct, wow, that is when manifestation occurs. The only problem is Uranus moves so slowly. It's sitting in Taurus. I've got this is the book that lists all the planets for the, this decade from 2020 to 2029. Uranus is retrograde now. It is going direct on Saturday, the day after the eclipse. It's going to be great. In 2 degrees of Taurus, there will be explosions.
Like literally?
Yeah, like literally.
Really?
But it's whatever Uranus touches. Uranus acts quickly, and it says, let's break free. Let's rebel. I love the rebel.
Yeah, me too.
Uranus rules astrology.
Yes.
You know, those of us with a strong Uranus in our chart, we're very strange, crazy people, and we like it that way.
Yes.
When I was legalizing astrology in Georgia, in Atlanta, in 1968, people said, you will never legalize astrology in the middle of the Bible Belt. And my response was, oh yeah, just watch me. Because it tells me I can't do something that I was led to do.
That's right.
Cheryl, I had no conscious thinking about it. I knew this much astrology at the time, and I had a bill introduced into the Georgia House of Representatives. I was totally led and totally guided by spirit. So
was it actually against the law?
Oh yes, everywhere. In fact, it still is.
Oh, wow.
In most places. the reason it was against the law was because of the church. If people went to astrologers, the church would lose control and lose money.
Yeah.
And so they didn't want anything. Oh, they called it names. So what I did was I researched it. This is the truth. I went to a Catholic priest, I went to an Episcopal priest, and I went to an Orthodox rabbi. And the rabbi was the most fascinating, because when I asked him, is astrology part of the holy books? I asked the priest, and he said, in the Vatican, we have the largest library of astrology books anywhere.
Wow.
So the rabbi went over to this bookcase, and where the books were this big, and he took a book out. I didn't realize what it was, but it was the book, it was the Kabbalah, the esoteric Judaism. He blew it off. I mean, it was the Sorcerer's Apprentice with Mickey Mouse, all over again. And he opened the book and started reading. He from the Aramaic or Hebrew, I never was sure which language, the description of Saturn, exactly as astrologers were learning it today. Saturn was the outermost planet at that time. And so he said it's part of Jewish history, and Judaism is the first monotheistic religion. And then he said to me, will you do my chart?
Wow, really?
Yeah. And I said, I would be delighted. And I said, I need your exact minute of birth. He said he was born in Germany during World War II, and all the records were destroyed by the Nazis. And so he didn't have a birth time, and I couldn't do his chart. This beautiful man, I couldn't do it. Yeah. So that's a long answer to Uranus retrograde. But
well, and was it really illegal, which is actually where I
yes.
was. Yeah. So both of those questions. Okay, so let me ask you this. There's two more questions that I have for sure that I'm going to ask you, and we're getting close. So if we go a little over, is that okay with you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't want anybody feeling left out.
Okay. So Carrie Hensman, I think is how you pronounce her last name. She asked, what is your understanding or definition of age of Aquarius? And what does that have to do with, I'm asking the second part, what does that have to do with astrology, or does it affect it anyway? What does that mean to you, the age of Aquarius?
Okay, well, the Fifth Dimension had a song, This is the Dawning of the Age of Aquarius, and an age is 2,000 years. And so we entered the age of Aquarius back when the hippies were young kids.
So we already entered the age of Aquarius?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure.
Okay, I thought that wasn't here yet.
Well,
I don't know, because I'm not an astrologer.
Well, look around you. We have so much electronics, and that's ruled by Aquarius, Uranus, humanitarianism, equality. We will have equality. We will. People want that now. And it means an awakening. People are awakening.
Yes, and that's been happening for a while. You're right.
Yes, it has been. And I'm thrilled to be around to see it and to have participated in it by getting astrology legalized. Now, the joke's on me, because with the internet, anybody can claim to be an astrologer. And they are, because nobody's coming to my door.
Right.
That was the excuse there as well. People, you bother people, they come to your door. Okay, well, I'll do it online and send them videos.
Right.
And so everybody is now a reader, a healer. We all have these amazing gifts. And that's what I do when I read a birth chart. I see the gifts that we have. I also see how the programming that we got from our childhood holds us down and back to
Yes.
not be able to express it. And I wrote a book called Hidden Messages that shows all astrologers how to read the messages. Then I have a session that I offer on my website um, under the spiritual coaching tab. It's my latest soon to be written book. It's called Take Back Your Life. And that's what we have to do, is take back our lives. Otherwise, we're victimized, we're hypnotized, and we are not free to move forward. And the movie, The Stepford Wives, and
Yes.
when I saw that years ago, I thought, that's how people are.
Already, yes.
Yeah. So that's my passion, is helping people take back their lives and get out of victim roles,
Right.
victimhood. I mean, if you don't like it, do something about it. If it's in your life, it's to give you a gift. And even if you have to kick butt to do it, do it.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so the next question was, and I didn't write down the name because I was trying to hurry up and make sure I got the question written down. Does being born on the cusp mean that you're actually influenced by both signs?
You are a combination. Yes, you are. It's very exciting, very thrilling. But you are literally one sign or the other. And when you have your chart done, the astrologer can tell you what sign you are. But cusp, yeah, I think it's great. Not the person who is on the cusp is not always in agreement with that, because it can be confusing to
Right.
them, because the qualities are so different from adjacent signs to one
Right.
another.
Okay. Okay, so I have a couple people asking, how much do you charge for a reading? What can you tell us about your special, a little bit more about the cost of it? And then of course somebody said, how do they get in touch with you? And I'm saying MaxineTaylor.com, and I guess that would be the best way. Am I correct?
You are correct. That's my website. I have an adorable website.
You do,
My
absolutely.
webmaster's terrific. I can take no credit for it at all. I have several readings, and the prices and a description of each of them is on my website. I
Okay.
have a spiritual coaching tab that I love, because one of the things I offer is to help you find your life's mission under that tab. Another, to have a session with me on Take Back Your Life. I'm offering a special now on the 6 months, the first 6 months of the year, which actually turns out to be like a 9-month forecast because of the summer eclipses. And they're halfway into the second half of the year, and they last till the end of the year. So, and it's 150, and I do it on video. No, I do not have people coming to my home anymore. I am so busy to have to Swiffer my floors and dust is just more than I want to do. So I do everything on video.
That's right. You don't want to have to make sure your house is straight every time somebody knocks on the door.
Exactly.
Right.
And I'll tell you the other problem I found. When I do somebody's chart, they just fall in love with themselves and they don't want to leave.
Right.
And I'm sitting there thinking, can you just love yourself out to the driveway and up to the curb and get your car? But to me, everybody is source energy in earthbound form.
Right.
We are infinite, immortal spirit in
Right.
flesh. We are perfect health. We are beauty. We are love itself. And it's our stories that keep us from getting it.
Yeah.
I got to tell you a true story. This blew me away. I was speaking at a very large astrological convention in 2018. And apparently, even back then, my YouTube channel was very popular and people loved the Trumpology report. And everywhere I went in the hotel, if I got on an elevator, somebody go, Maxine, love your YouTube channel. Or they'd say, love you. And I'd go, really? Who are you? I could not accept it.
Right.
Without fail, everybody said that. And I thought, there's a message in this. And I help people fall in love with themselves.
But isn't that a blessing to be able to do that?
Oh, yes. Yes. It showed me I didn't love myself.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. I had to hear it from like 1,000 people.
Yes.
And one lady said it so beautifully, and I don't even remember what her reason was, but she said, I wish I could do what you do. And she verbalized it. And like I said, I couldn't even hear her. But what I said to her was, if you can see it in me, it's because you have it in you.
That's right. That's
And
right.
she burst into tears and she said, now I know why I came to this conference. And I'm thinking, you know, I would like to have a revelation like, and there was the revelation all around me and I couldn't even see it, Cheryl.
And couldn't even see it. So how long did it take you to have that revelation?
What's today?
Today?
I'm teasing. I'm teasing. What's today? Tuesday?
Today's
Okay.
Tuesday.
Monday. It took me a while because I didn't get it. I'm
Right.
just me.
Right.
I'm
And
just me.
that's something else we were talking about earlier. The readings, whenever people contact us for a reading, whether it's you for an astrological reading or me for a tarot reading, and they have specific questions, it's a mirror, right? Because it's a message to us about things that we need to work on in our own lives too. So the reading is two ways.
You're absolutely right, Cheryl. And what I'm seeing is the message comes in droves. If you have a lot of readings, they all have the same message. So I said years ago, I should pay my clients because they're giving me a reading. And I'll tell you what everybody's is saying. Everybody's saying there's a whole new life for you. Your career is going to take off. And I thought, wow, this is really fabulous. If people knew that, you know, they might sign up for it, for a reading. I don't know. But then once I get that, the message changes.
Right.
It's God speaking to us.
Right.
Through our beautiful clients.
Right. And I think that's really awesome. Okay, so I'm not seeing any more questions, and it is right at 7 o'clock. So we have been on for an hour, and I want to say to you again, thank you so much. Would you come back and visit with us? I'm sure you would, right?
I would adore it. You have been so delightful and such a beautiful human being.
Thank you.
Anytime. I feel like, of course, you've got a lot going on. You got to keep the chat room, and you got to pay attention to this, that, and the other. I think we could have a lot of fun because I'm talking about something that will be coming up, keeping it light because it is going to be, the rest of the year could be a little heavy.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, so maybe we can check in every other month or maybe quarterly with you on a session like this to kind of talk about where things are collectively with the energies.
I think that would be awesome.
Okay.
I know the second half of the year is going to be a turning point for a lot of people. And I can explain what people are going through so they know they're not crazy.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, definitely at the halfway point, if not sooner. I'd love to come back and visit with you.
Okay, just so you know, this is how my little community works. You're sitting here saying, Cheryl, I know you're busy and blah, blah, blah. And one of our subscribers, one of the members of our community, she's like, no, she's got time. Thank you, Carrie. Anyway, but everybody is being very grateful for you and for your time, and I am also so very grateful for you and your time. I love you to pieces. You're beautiful. I want to be like you whenever I grow up. That's what I
Well,
want.
thank you. And you know, if you want that, it's because you are like me.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It is true. It's true. I
Okay.
can always see it in the other person.
Yeah.
You have a gorgeous, loving, truthful energy about you
Thank
that is so refreshing.
Well, you do too. I think that's why I was attracted to you so much, uh, because you're genuine.
Thank you.
So anyway, all right. Well, guys, thank y'all so much for joining us. I am so glad you came in. Maxine, again, thank you. I love you to pieces. I love
you
you
to
out
pieces.
there in the community too. And I look forward to, I'm going to schedule you for what, January, February, March, should be end of March, beginning of April.
Whenever you like, we will get
Okay.
together.
Yeah,
Why
we'll
don't you give me a call when the show's over and we'll
Okay.
set up a time, all right?
That sounds
Because
perfect.
you're gonna have to nail me down because it's getting busier and busier and busier.
Yes, and that's a good thing. And it's fixing to get even busier because there's a lot of people right here, I think, that are going to be contacting you for readings
Oh,
too.
cool. I hope so. Yes, love to meet you.
Okay,
sweet.
sounds great.
Mwah.
All right, love you so much, guys. Y'all have a super evening, and we will see y'all. The first 3 of the zodiac are lining are gonna fall tonight. I did Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. They're gonna fall whenever we get off of this. About 7:15, they'll start coming up. And next week on Tuesday night, we're going to be talking to a former apostolic pastor. His name is Kyle Butler, and he'll be talking about religion and spirituality and how it melds or doesn't meld in our lives. The week after that, we'll be talking to another guy. His YouTube channel is called Good News, and he's going to also be talking about the same thing, religion, spirituality, and all that stuff, and interpreting the Bible in a more esoteric way, in a more spiritual way instead of literally. So anyway, that's it. Thank you so much again, Maxine. I love you, and
Love
I'm
you too.
going to end this meeting now. So y'all all have a great evening.